Hi everyone, it's Claire back again, and welcome back to this channel. This is my first big collab, which I'm really excited about, and thanks to everybody who's agreed to join in. We've actually got like 20 different channels, so check out everybody's videos because it'll be talking about first. It's about nail polish first, so hopefully we'll be taking a trip down memory lane and we'll be finding out where everybody's first nail polishes are that they picked up. Do they still use them? That kind of thing. So we'll be finding out about everybody's first. And yeah, so it's my first collab. It's the 1st of December and it's all about firsts. So I thought this would be a good way to start. So first of all, let me tell you who's in the collab. So these are the channels that we've got. We've got Amanda from Fashion Footing, Amy from Nail Polish Baby 90, Ashley from Pugs and Pearls, Chelsea from Polish and Beyond, Chris from Chris Thon, Florrie from Florrie Sparks, Jackie from Solitary Misfit, Jennifer from Haffiner Creations, Joanne over in I was going to say, where was I going to say then? She's in Las Vegas, I don't know where I was going to say. Envy Nail Person. Kenny from Kenny Nicole. Lindsay from Lacquerlins. Lisa from Lisa Hendy. Michelle Malibu. Nika, who used to be Nails by a Newbie and she's now Nika's Naughty Nails. Polish Pony, obviously. Stacey from Polish Ways, Sylvia from Hell of a Nails, Tracy from Tina from Moon Baby Nails, and Catherine, Mrs. Cronall, over on Mrs. Cronall's channel. So loads there. Everyone will be linked down below. So I think I'll start by saying I actually started to get really addicted to nail polish round about the middle of 2014, and it was just about the same time that I started watching and kind of getting addicted to and subscribing to everybody who did nail polish videos on YouTube. It was actually Stacey who I started to watch first, so this is all your fault, why do I keep saying Tracy? Stacey. Have a sup of me coffee, that might help. So there are 10 categories. Let me go through them. The first one is my first OPI, and this is a funny story behind this actually, and all of the ones that I'm showing you are quite well used. My first OPI, this was sent to me a couple of years ago now by my friend Anne over in Paris, and I actually did my first ever video on YouTube, was a beauty swap that we did, and she sent me this polish. And I've worn quite a bit of it. I'm just looking at it now. You can see it. And I was convinced that I couldn't buy OPI like in the high street, that I had to order online, and I'd order online a lot these days, but at the time I was a bit hesitant about ordering nail polish online. And I was like, oh, I can't find it anywhere in the high street. Turns out they have it in Boots, a big Boots in Manchester near me, and I just hadn't looked properly. So yeah, that was a bit embarrassing. I just thought you couldn't get it in the high street, but you can. This is my first OPI, and this is, you might guess what it is. It's quite a classic polish. It's a glitter topper, and it's, you see it? Comet in the Sky. And on my nails, by the way, is Illamasqua Remains, which is a beautiful blackcurrant, sparkly blackcurrant. But this is, I've moved it around now so you probably can't see, but I've used down to about there. And it's a clear base, but it's just packed with black matte and silver rainbow chunky glitters, and I'll show you what it looks like on the swatch wheel. So I've actually put it over black here, so you can see all of the rainbow sparkles there, and this is it over white. So yeah, that was my very first OPI, Comet in the Sky. And I thought it might be an embarrassing trip down memory lane. I think I said this before, but actually I wasn't embarrassed. There's maybe one that I'm like, I wouldn't really wear so much anymore, but most of them, maybe two, but most I would still use. But anyway, that's my first OPI. The next category is first Essie. And my very first Essie, I believe, now some of these were really tricky, and I'm sure everybody else is going to say this, to remember exactly what your first polish from a brand was, but I'm fairly certain this was my first Essie. And this, you can see how much I've used here, down to about there. This is Essie Mesmerised, and it's a beautiful, like middle of the road, not quite navy, a bit darker than cobalt blue, and it's a one coater. And the reason I bought this was because I was watching a collaboration video on YouTube with Amy and Holly from Miss Hollyberries and Zenora, and that you know, there's a group of people that do collaborations, and they did one about one coat wonders, and this came up a couple of times as a one coat wonder, and it's brilliant, and I wear it a lot. So this is Essie Mesmerised, my first Essie. My first China Glaze, this is down to Stacey, and stumbling across Sally's beauty supply at around the same time, which is where I get the China Glaze from in the UK. And I think it was when she bought a Pros on shaker, and she was using this polish to demonstrate the shaker, and she used this one, which was my first China Glaze. And this is China Glaze for Audrey, and you can see I've used about this much of it. Love it, absolutely love this. And when I was swatching it, oh, I didn't show you Mesmerised on the swatch wheel. That's Mesmerised on the swatch wheel, just a really pretty blue. So it's not one of those blues that's too dark that it kind of starts to look black. And this one is for Audrey, which looks more like a mint green to me than it does a robin's egg blue. Or a Tiffany blue, that's it, not robin's egg blue. Okay, the next one is, so the next category is your first UK brand, or if you're in the US, or if you're in Australia or Canada, whatever your home country is, the brand that comes from your home country. And for me, my first UK brand was Barry M. And the first, I think this is one of a couple of first Barry M's that I got. One of them I know was a beautiful one coater, green one coater, whose name I can't remember right now, it'll come to me. And this one, which I think I bought both of them at the same time. Now this is supposed to be a dupe for Pacific Blue. I haven't got Pacific Blue, and we didn't get the Sally Hansen Extreme Wear line here in the UK, but this is Barry M's Damson. Does it look like, if you're over in the US and you've got Pacific Blue, this to me looks like it's got the same kind of whiteness to it, but is it? Polish Pony tells me that she's looked it up and it is. So yeah, I'm quite pleased actually that this was my first Barry M, or one of two of my first Barry M's. And the other one that I've remembered is called Cardamom, the green one. So that's my first UK brand, which was Barry M, and that was my first Barry M. Similar with indies, my first indie, what I did was, I can remember this, it was a big, the first indies that I got that were not specific UK indies, which I started collecting this year. I had a huge indie haul from Rainbow Connection round about this time last year, just before Christmas. And it was massive. I'd been saving up, and I wanted to try one from lots of different indie brands. So it's really difficult for me to tell you which one I got first because I got so many all at the same time. From Rainbow Connection, which is our indie UK distributor here. But I think the first one that I remember opening from that haul was this one, which is a Dance Legend, which is a Russian brand. And again, you can see I've used, I've used a bit of it to about there. And this is beautiful chunky glitter, silver, red and blue glitters in a black tinted base, and it's called something in Russian that I can't translate, but it's from the Rich Black collection, and it's, where are we up to here? This was for Audrey, that was the Barry M Damson, and this one here is Dance Legend. So that was my first indie from a huge haul, but one of the first ones that I can remember opening. Yeah, and I love this one. So that's 2 coats. I think it's 2 coats on everything apart from Mesmerise, which is a 1 coater. The Damson, you can, I know that Pacific Blue is a 1 coater, and you can actually get this Damson opaque in 1 coat, but I tend to use 2. The next category is your first holo, and that can either be a scattered holo or linear holo, and the very first holographic that I got was this one from China Glaze. And I don't know if you can see in this light the holo. It's actually really quite strong. See if you can see it there, not very well, but yeah, it's a very, very strong holo. It's actually, the base colour is a kind of dusky rose, and yeah, so it's China Glaze holographic, and it's called Astro Hot. So yeah, it's from like a holographic collection, and I got this, and I think I've worn it maybe once, so I do like it, and I'm not nothing against holo, and it is a linear holographic, but I was a bit kind of like, I'd prefer to have a holo in a different colour. I'm not a huge pink person, but every time I swatch this I think, no, actually I really like it. Yeah, actually I do like it quite a bit. I might pop this one out soon. So that was my first holographic. I've since had many, and I always find that indies do holographics better, but yeah, that was my first China Glaze. And the next one is my first glitter topper, and this is when I first started collecting nail polish. I think, like probably most people, before you discovered where you could get different brands online, I was just kind of picking polishes up from the supermarket. And the brand that we can get over here, just like food shopping in the supermarket each week, is Rimmel. And my first glitter topper is this one here, Glitter Bomb, and it's actually called Disco Diva, and I've used about this much. Now this is actually quite a pretty holographic glitter. Yeah, it's, and I don't know if you can see that there, but it's a kind of rose gold and holographic micro dots. So that's from Rimmel, and that was my first ever glitter topper. My first nail art, so the 8th category, we've got 10 altogether. The 8th one is my first nail art tool. Now, I'm not huge on nail art, I don't do lots, I've only really kind of learned how to do stamping and things this year. And I first started with dotting tools, but before that I thought I would be able to try a little bit of freehand, and the very first nail art that I did was, I think it was Halloween last year, and I did like like monster faces on my fingers. If I can find the picture, I'll add it in at the end. And I was really proud of it. But I think at the time I used like an orange stick and just kind of dotted onto it. But very soon after, my first nail art tools, even before dotting tools, were these, which are Barry M nail art pens. And they're okay. They're actually not too bad. You know, they do, I can't show you on my nails, but they do. The black works better than the silver one. The silver one is actually a little bit sort of watery. And I've still got them. I think I've probably I'd hardly use this one. I have used this one, and they're not cheap. They weren't, you know, they're not hugely expensive, but they weren't cheap. So, yeah. I've since, if I do want to do any kind of freehand and I want to draw it with a pen rather than try with a brush, I'm just looking over at my nail art stuff over there, I'd probably use Sharpie. I've done like a nice sort of flower. Not that I'm great at nail art, but Sharpies are just as good as these kind of nail art pens. But they were my first nail art tools. And the ninth and 10, we can sort of do them together, kind of base coat. It's your first base coat and first top coat. And the very first base coat that I got was this. And again, this is another Rimmel. So this would have been bought from the supermarket. And this is called Nail Nurse. You can see I've used some of it. And I picked this up because it's a combined nail base and top coat. So at the time I thought, oh brilliant, I can get use out of both of them. You know, I can, like, dual purpose. I can use it for a base coat and a top coat. This was around about the time that I discovered that actually I did need to use base coats, because when I first started I was convinced, no, I don't need to do that, I can skip that. I can skip that step, I don't need to do it. Well, as you can imagine, quite quickly my nails got really peely and stained, so I did start to use base coat, but I thought that this would be a good buy. So this was my very first base coat, and I've only managed to find this because it was in like a forgotten drawer that I know that I'd left this in. So this was definitely my first base coat, and I didn't really I did use it as a top coat as well, but it wasn't very shiny and it didn't dry very fast. And then I heard about this thing called Sèche Vite, which I thought people were pronouncing it Sèche Feet, you know, like feet. It's not, it's VITE, Sèche Vite. And that's the top coat that I've been using since then. So I started to use that very early on, after I discovered this wasn't really that great. I mean, I would probably use it as a base coat, but definitely not as a top coat. I haven't got my Sèche Vite here with me, but I do have the refill, and I also have the thinner as well. The Restore. So I find when I get to about halfway down in my Sèche Vite, I will need to thin it out and then top it up. But this tends to last quite a while. So yeah, that's all my 10 firsts. I'm really looking forward to watching everybody else's videos. Please go and check everybody else out. Thank you very much for watching, and if you hear from anybody else's channel, hello, welcome, please stick around. We're all about nails and nail polish. So thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!